As the saying goes, the only thing constant is change. We can see how things are changing all around us. But as we age, we also realize things are changing inside of us, especially for women. Let's just say it's called the change of life for a reason. What are the best ways to manage your life through this change? Gynecologist Dr. Lori Hollins has a few ideas. Dr. Hollins is with Metro Health. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Good information for me and a lot of others I know that are out there. So most people can tell when menopause is happening, but what are the most common symptoms to look for?
Well, first of all, women notice irregular periods, and they may even obviously stop having periods altogether. Hot flashes are very common. Insomnia, difficulty with sleeping, sometimes difficulty with concentration. Some women may start to have some sexual difficulties as well. So all of those are basic symptoms of menopause.
Okay, and I know you're going to tell me this is all normal. Doesn't feel like it's normal, though.
No, it doesn't feel normal. I mean, I think change doesn't feel normal most of the time when we're in the midst of it, but this is all part of the process. That's how we're designed as women. Changes of menopause start happening in the 40s. The average age of menopause is about 50, 51, and women can have symptoms up to 7 years before they actually stop having periods altogether. Yeah.
Big impact on your life.
Yes, it
so
can.
how do we deal with all of this going on?
Well, initially, a few years, well, about 10 years ago, there was a health study called the Women's Health Initiative. And it actually wanted to look at what was the best way to treat menopause because we had this idea that hormones were the best way to treat it. And actually, I participated in the research study, and what came out of it was that actually hormones are probably not the best way to treat it long term. For short periods of time, it's helpful as far as hot flashes and some of the mood changes.
How long is short?
Actually, only maybe a couple of years, maybe even maybe 3 years at most, because we did see that the hormones cause an increased incidence of breast cancer, for one thing.
Not so good.
And actually, they weren't protective against heart disease as well. So a lot of women.
So what else do we do?
Well, I think that there are lifestyle changes that we have to make, and I can kind of use myself as an example. I think we all want a pill to fix this, especially when we're going through menopause. I mean, I actually did take hormones for a short period of time, but I stopped because I have a strong family history of breast cancer. So I've kind of had to learn to adapt. Normally, I don't wear sweaters. Because I have hot flashes still, and matter of fact, a lot of times I will wear a tank top. For example, at night, because I sometimes wake up with hot flashes, I tend to keep my house very cool, like under 65 degrees, and when my kids come home from college, they're like, "Mom, it's freezing in here." I also counsel women all the time about diet and exercise because one of the things we all complain about is weight gain with menopause. And there's also, I think there's a myth that you can't lose weight after menopause, but I think I'm a prime example that you can.
Okay.
So those are all kind of things that you can work on.
And I know you mentioned to me a holistic approach.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I think the holistic approach is that a lot of times, I mean, because we're baby boomers, we often still have children that need us, and then we also have parents that need us as well. So I think you have to look at your whole life. I think menopausal symptoms can be exacerbated by the things that are going on in our lives, having to take care of older parents.
Stress makes everything worse.
Absolutely. And so I think, and depression is more common in women, but I think you have to look at, reassess everything that's going on in your life and look at, are you caring for elderly parents? Is your job, are you having job difficulties? I mean, what's going on in your marriage? I mean, I think you have to look at all those things as well.
Big change, and you got to look and see if other things might need to change to make it better too. So when it comes to the change of life, you may need to change your mind on how you approach it. For ideas along with medical tips, don't miss Metro Health's Pep Talk, Menopause, What's Hot and What's Not, coming up on March 22nd. My thanks to Dr. Hollins for her life-changing advice.
To make an appointment with Dr. Hollins, call 216-778-7624. And to register for the Pep Talk, log on to www.metrohealth.org/peptalks. Next, pictures that peek into our past.